Everyone, a quick note on unusual freeloading activity this semester. So freeloading is common in every team. If you ever worked in a team, you probably had a team member who was not pulling their weight. So depending on the study, I see estimates between 20 and 30% of team members in a given project who are not meeting the expectations of their team. In Exculture, we used to see like 10 years ago about 30% rate, but through a number of interventions such as weekly peer evaluations, additional training, additional documentation that was distributed at the end of the project, we were able to drop that rate to about 5%, maybe 7% in some semesters. So which means that most teams would still have at least one team member who is not showing up for the team meetings or not performing as well as the team expects the person to perform. But overall, this rate is relatively low and lower than in comparable projects. But I was looking at the last week's performance data and noticed that this time we actually see a little bit more freeloaders than that. Moreover, they seem to be coming from a few universities. So overall, the numbers are good, maybe even a little bit better than usual. But we have 5 universities, some of them, by the way, with very large classes, who have a lot of freeloaders. All of those professors participate in Exculture for the first time. And so we had no way of predicting that there would be a problem at the level of those universities. I suspect they probably just didn't have enough experience, didn't know how to present the project to their students, or maybe didn't realize that the project is so demanding, and so basically didn't prepare their students for something like this. But whatever the reason, I see a substantially higher percentage of students with low peer evaluations in these 5 universities. So I already contacted the professors and basically expressed my concern, offered help, but also warned them that if the situation does not improve, we will have to start excluding those students from the project. We have also contacted the students whose peer evaluations were at about 2 or below for the past couple of weeks, and even excluded a few of them from the project. So most of them, once we contact them, they improve their performance, everything gets better. But there were a few who did not improve, and we basically kicked them out of the project. We will continue doing that, and I will be looking at your data the survey that is due tomorrow, Sunday. And so obviously, if anybody's performance is not up to the standard of our project, we will send out a warning first, and then if it doesn't help, we will kick out the person from the project. So, but to those teams that may have one of those students, if you happen to be one of those teams, a couple of notes. One, please do continue trying to reach that student and encourage them to participate. In many cases, my data shows that it's not because students are lazy that they do not participate. It's not that they're not responsible enough. Usually they are sort of lost, didn't connect with the team in the first week or two, and now don't know how to connect. So now maybe sometimes feel a little sort of embarrassed and don't know how to approach you and offer their help. So when you send them a note saying, hey, what's going on? We need your help. Is everything okay? That encourages them to reconnect with the team and start working on the project. Also remember that some students may have been, sick. The COVID is still very much around, or maybe were busy at work or in school and maybe just had a bad week. So be encouraging, be welcoming, and my experience shows that in almost all of the cases, that does result in students kind of getting back on track and helping your team. But at the same time, if somebody is not participating, do not be shy to evaluate them poorly in the peer evaluations. This is how we know that there is a problem, and this is how we know that maybe some help is needed, or maybe a warning is needed, or maybe even harsher action is needed. I know some teams are trying to sort of present themselves in a more favorable light, and so they try to sort of hide the problem instead of telling us about it. So your team will not be affected if some of your team members get low peer evaluations. You can still get and win the competition, but we need to know about it. Likewise, do not get upset when you have a freeloader on your team. Exculture is an experiential learning exercise. So Exculture is a preview of what's in store for you. So if you think this is bad, wait until you do it next time. So there will be always someone on the team who is not doing their share of work, who is too bossy or too shy or too lazy or whatever the problem is. And so here is your opportunity to sort of experience how it feels like when you have that on the team, and then more importantly, try to see what can be done so that when you participate in a team next time, you know better what to expect, and then more importantly, you know better what to do, what works, what doesn't. So all teams are large enough, so even if someone on your team is not participating, you should still have enough people left to complete the project, even if it's only 3, 4, or even 2 people left. So just continue on, regroup, forget about the freeloaders, regroup and complete the project in the smaller team. Your personal grade is not in jeopardy as long as you get good peer evaluations. Your team output is still good enough no matter how many people on the team actually contributed to it. You will not be penalized if 1 or even 2, or I don't think 3 is possible, but even if 3 team members on the team didn't participate actively, and you tell us about that, it's not going to disqualify you. If anything, it actually gives you sort of more credit because you were able to complete the project despite all those adverse effects. So we are working on our end. If you see this problem, don't panic. Don't ask to be moved to a different team. Just simply take it as one of the obstacles in your path and regroup, see how you can complete it with the available active team members. Do let us know about the problem in the weekly peer evaluations, and we'll make sure to help or to punish freeloaders if you have any on the team. And yeah, just treat it as a learning opportunity, not as a reason to be upset. Again, I may have painted this as a big problem. Like looking at the numbers, the average peer evaluations last week were 4.1, which means on average students score between good and excellent. And pretty much all of the students are doing very, very well. And so most of the students are meeting the team expectations, working hard, and you're probably one of them. But we do have a couple hundred students who are not participating very well, who are not working very hard. And so, yeah, part of life, I guess. So if that happened to your team, as I said, don't see that as a reason to get upset, but rather as a learning opportunity. All right, so we'll be in touch. We'll try to help as much as possible, and good luck to your team.